I always used to think to myself, maybe happiness is something on the other side of achieving some things, or happiness is something we have to find, happiness is something we have to chase. I used to ask myself, would it be a time or a season where I'll finally feel happy? Do I have to fight for my own happiness? What is even happiness? And what does it actually mean for us to be happy? Because I realized that our brain just constantly searches for things to be unhappy about, something to complain about. Even when you're literally living something that you hoped and wished for, your brain is like, no, this is still wrong, this is still wrong, this is why you can't be happy. But like I've said one time or maybe numerous times on this podcast, happiness is a choice. You can't be happy by accident, but sometimes subconsciously we actually block our own happiness. So for this week's episode, I'm going to talk about letting yourself be happy and things that we consciously or unconsciously do that actually blocks our own happiness. And I like to say what inspired the episode so that you can have a peek into how my mind works. But some days I find myself being so unhappy or being so unsatisfied with my current reality. But I had to be really honest with myself, look around and be like, Princess, are you supposed to feel so unhappy? Are you supposed to feel so unsatisfied? You have a lot of things going on for you. Are you just sitting here and searching for things to be unhappy about instead of using all that energy to good use? Because not everything will be 100%, but who told us that things have to be 100 for us to be happy? That was never a requirement for happiness. So this episode is a reminder for you and for me that we can let ourselves be happy even though not everything is perfect. And I don't know if I sound a bit nasally, but my throat itches so bad and I'm just recovering from a runny nose. So please bear with me. I'll put music over it. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Inspire That Podcast. And it's me, your host, as always, Princess. So I'm going to talk about 8 or maybe 10 things. Let's see how it goes. 10 things that you might be doing that might be blocking your own happiness. The first one, seeking approval, people pleasing, seeking external validation. All those things could be blocking you from being happy. You may be happy with the choices that you're making, but you know the next person, your friend here or this person, doesn't feel happy about the choice that you're making. Then that causes you to be unhappy with yourself, and that causes you to feel unsatisfied with your life. But when you're constantly trying to be liked by others, you're constantly trying to have a life that looks good and is pleasing to others, you never truly live your own life. And how can you be happy when you're never truly living your own life, when you're never truly making your own choices, making your own decisions based on who you really are? So the more you keep pleasing others, the more you keep trying to please others, the less pleased with yourself you'll feel. Not everybody would align with you forever, and that's okay. If you were so aligned with this person and everything just worked out with this person, and if that stops working, it's okay to move on. It's okay to let them be in the past. Some people are not supposed to be with us forever. They're just supposed to be the friends we make along the way on the journey. So stop forcing people to remain in your life. Stop putting these people also on a pedestal in your own life. The next one is negative self-talk. Your inner world reflects how you feel on the outside. So if every time in your head you're always saying the craziest, meanest thing to yourself, tell me how you're going to feel happy. Even though you have everything that you want, even though life is looking good for you, you're working towards your goals, you're getting callbacks, things are really looking good. But in your head, you're telling yourself crazy, mean stuff. You're not going to feel happy. You're going to feel everything is a waste. You're going to feel everything is pointless just because of how you speak to yourself. So if this isn't enough reason to change how you speak to yourself, I don't know what will convince you to stop speaking to yourself in a negative manner. Your brain listens to what you say and it acts accordingly. You can never show up as a confident, excited, cheerful, pleasant person if in your head you're telling yourself the direct opposite, no matter how hard you try. And speak to yourself how you would speak to a friend. If your friend is low-key always saying mean stuff to you, you have to take a step back and reevaluate that friendship. So don't be your own worst enemy. Don't be the type of people that you don't want to be around. If you won't say that to a friend, if you won't say that to someone that you love, you shouldn't be saying that to yourself at all. And what I've been doing is that anytime I catch myself saying something negative, or anytime I just feel like I'm spiraling into negativity, I immediately stop and I start saying positive things to myself. Even though it may sound corny, like imagine you saying in your head, I am this, like things are working out for me, I'm confident, I'm hardworking, I'm disciplined, I'm going to get my dream this or my dream that. It may sound weird, it may sound corny, but it's because we're not used to saying those things to ourselves. Because why is it so normalized for us to say in our head, I'm not good at anything, this is just going to shit, this is going to be ruined, I ruined everything? Why is that more normal than you literally hyping yourself up in your own head? That shouldn't be the normal for you. So try and change the normal. Because it feels corny doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It's going to feel corny at first, it's going to feel weird at first, but you can keep doing it till it becomes your normal, and then till it becomes your default way of thinking about yourself. The third one is comparing yourself to people. We've all heard this saying that goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And that's just it. Comparison is a thief of joy. There'll always be somebody that has it better than you, and there's no point comparing what you have to someone else's. Do you know why? Because nothing good comes out of it. Let's say something good came out of you comparing and being so jealous. Okay, we would say you're using your energy to good use, but nothing good comes out of comparing yourself to other people. And if you really think about it, if everyone were to put their problems in a circle or come together and talk about their problems, you would take years and be like, okay, you know what? Let me just keep managing mine. At least I know how I can maneuver myself and how I can manage myself. So don't compare your behind the scenes, your lonely nights, your hard days to what someone else displays. And I'm not saying that people are fake or people only display a certain part of themselves. Nobody owes you their behind the scenes. Nobody needs to show you the things that they struggle with. Everyone has the right to put out what they want to put out and to show themselves in any way that they can. You're not responsible of taking that as your will. So don't compare your behind the scenes to someone's highlight reel. The same way somebody else should not also compare what they struggle with to what you only put out. Because if you were to step out of your own self and look at yourself from someone else's point of view, you wouldn't see everything that you struggle with. So don't think no one else struggles or it's only you that is struggling. That couldn't be further from the truth. And I've seen so many times, and most times we feel this way because we're never supposed to be disconnected. Yes, we're supposed to be connected as humans, you're supposed to have friends and socialize and whatever, but we're not supposed to have so much access to a lot of people in a short amount of time. Because we spend so much time online, and what I even mean by this is we spend so much time watching other people, paying attention to other people's life, watching their daily routines, watching things that their life updates, which was never meant to be so. Because the more you watch these things, you're paying attention to them, keep neglecting your own life. But once you take a step back from watching other people and start paying attention to yourself, you start noticing ways to improve yourself, and you start noticing the beautiful things that are in your life. And this leads to my next point. I think we're on point number 4. Ignoring the simple things in life. How can you only wait for big things in life to finally feel excited or to finally feel like life is worth living again? The little things actually make up more of your life compared to the big things. The little things count so much. Meeting up with a friend, ordering new food and immediately falling in love with your new order, going to a different place that you've never been to, speaking to someone new, finding a new show to watch that comforts you every night after your long day. These are the little things that it sounds crazy to be grateful for, but trust me, when you start being grateful for things like this, you finally feel so happy. Personally, what I've been loving so hard is finishing a workout and listening to some nostalgic music on my way home. Like, yes, I did that. I finished this workout and this song just takes me back to a time. And that feels so good. I don't have to wait for when I finally hit this milestone or when I finally accomplish this thing before I'm going to smile and be happy or celebrate myself or whatever. No, if I wait for those things, I'll be waiting for a while. Not saying that these things won't happen. Not saying that there'll be no big thing in your life. But if you only wait for the big things, you'll be missing out on a huge chunk of your life. The next one, point number 5, is letting your phone control you or just chasing cheap dopamine in general. Constant scrolling, to be honest, makes your normal life feel so boring. Because you're scrolling on your phone, you see someone booking a private jet to this exotic country, and then you're just going to school and you're coming back. Of course you feel unhappy. Of course you feel unsatisfied with your life. But guess what? That shouldn't be so. Like I said, we're not supposed to be disconnected to people that we do not even know personally. And when you're doing any activity and at the same time you're scrolling on your phone, your brain doesn't even register that activity that you're doing. So imagine if you're on the treadmill and instead of you to maybe listen to feel good music so I can actually feel good, you're scrolling at the same time. Your brain doesn't even register how you're feeling in that moment. Your brain doesn't register that high of working out and that excitement that you feel. Your brain is just like, yeah, we're scrolling. Imagine if you're eating a meal or you're hanging out with your friends and then you're just on your phone all the time. You're not going to feel happy after a beautiful day with your friends because guess what? You were on your phone the whole time you were there. So constantly watching other people, like I've said, it makes you neglect yourself. And when you look back, you don't really have any memories of anything. You don't even have any feelings of anything. You just remember nothing. You just remember scrolling videos you've watched, comparing things that you've watched to your normal life, and constantly chasing dopamine from social media. It makes you desensitized to actual dopamine. It literally changes the way your brain works. Your brain gets addicted to being rewarded in the first 3 seconds of doing something. So every other thing will feel so exhausting because you're addicted to the reward system that social media gives you. Imagine if you're trying to start up an assignment or write a paper. You don't see the reward. You're not done in 5 seconds. So you're exhausted, you're tired. Your brain can't even function well. It can't even focus long enough to get it done. And if you're not really getting anything done in your life, you're going to feel unhappy. Which actually leads to my next point, having nothing to look forward to and just not working on your dream goals, your dream body, your dream lifestyle, your dream car, your dream self. Not working towards these things makes you feel stuck, makes you feel stagnant. Even if in reality, you could easily get out of your rut just like that by getting up and having a productive day and then another productive day. You could easily move out of that phase. But just choosing not to, or being so addicted to cheap dopamine that actually doing these things feels so exhausting. But you have to remind yourself that how you're feeling is just because of how you've been living your life. If you're used to living your life in a certain way, of course when you want to make a change, it's going to be hard. So take it easy on yourself. Don't feel like because it hasn't happened in the first 10 minutes, it's not going to happen. When you notice that you've been addicted to scrolling for like 8 hours a day, be easy on yourself when you're trying to make a transition into working on your dream body and working on your dream self. Start by planning something a day, whether it's alone. Try and go out during the weekend. Just try and do something that would break you out of that cycle. Because if you don't fight to break out of this cycle, you get further sucked in the loop and it's get harder to break out. And the next point, which is actually tied to the former one, is also staying in bed all day would actually make you so unhappy. Bed rotting is the enemy. I cannot stress this enough. I'm literally against bed rotting. Like, you can even just sit on the floor. It's better than staying in bed all day because number one, it actually ruins your sleep. And I'm saying this from experience because your brain cannot tell the difference between when it's time to sleep or when it's time to scroll or when it's time to worry if you're doing all those things in bed. So when it's actually time to sleep, your brain is like, oh, but we're in the same position as scrolling. Why are we trying to sleep? So your brain is still activated. This was me last summer. And when your sleep is ruined, everything else is ruined. You need to function when you're well rested. You need to get at least a couple hours of sleep, good quality sleep, so that you can have the energy to work on your dream body or work on your dream self, work on your dream life and future and all those exciting things. Bed rotting actually makes your life so difficult. It makes something as simple as getting up and making yourself breakfast so hard. It makes something as simple as getting up and brushing your teeth so hard. It makes something as simple as doing the laundry so hard because you're so addicted to the pleasure and the comfort of your bed, which is not supposed to be so. And the crazy thing about bed rotting, the more you do it, the more you get anxious. The more you do it, the more you feel depressed, the more you feel unsatisfied with your life. But doing something else just feels so difficult. So it's literally a never-ending cycle. You have to fight to break free from this cycle. And how to just break free is by starting easy, of course. Just expose yourself to something different, even if it's for at least 10 minutes. Sometimes I just stand up and I just stare. Because that's what I can do right now. I just stand up and maybe I do the dishes because at least it takes me out of my room. It takes me out of my bed I just stand up and I go outside and I take a walk. I've been taking walks of recent, and walks are really good. Take a walk today. If you haven't stepped out of your room today, if you haven't stepped out of your house, take a walk. I'm looking at you. Take a walk, please. And the next point, to be honest, I have lost count, but let's just say this is point number 7 or maybe 8. But not taking risks in your life would make you so unhappy, because genuinely your life is a movie, and the more exciting a movie is, the more happy and satisfied you will feel with a movie. So if your life is a movie, if you don't do anything different, if you don't do anything for the plot, you're going to feel unhappy and unsatisfied. And I'm not saying be reckless or just throw away yourself down in the dump. I'm not saying that, but try out new things, put yourself out there, talk to different people from different backgrounds, make a new plan for yourself that would have shocked the previous you or even shock people around you. Just try something different, because you never know if that different thing will put so much excitement in your life. I saw someone say you feel unsatisfied with your life because you don't have any side quests, and I completely agree, because if you're just going to work and coming back, the next day you're going again and then you're coming back, nothing else, you're going to feel so bored, you're going to feel unexcited. Even though you're supposed to love your job, you won't feel like you love your job, because you feel like it's your whole life, and your job shouldn't be your whole life, because it cannot be your whole life. It's not supposed to satisfy you in every single way, physically, mentally, socially. You can't put all that responsibility on your job. So you're supposed to add these little other things that will satisfy you in other ways, so that you can have a satisfied life, if that makes sense. And my next point, which is the last point, because my throat is so itchy, is saying yes to things that you're supposed to say no to. Because your life is shaped by the things you either say yes or say no to. If you always say yes to parties when you don't want to be saying yes to parties, you're not going to live a life that you like. If you keep saying no to parties but you want to say yes, you're also not going to be living a life that you like. So just figure out what you want for yourself and then say yes to those type of things, and figure out what you don't want and then say no to those type of things. Saying yes to anything and everything, it chops away at your time, your energy, your boundaries, and it just makes you disconnected with who you are. So just stay true to you and say yes to only things that make you feel excited, and yes to things that are truly aligned with who you are. So happiness is not something that we have to wait for, or it's not something that we have to chase. We could just allow ourselves to be happy. You could literally just stop blocking your own happiness by choosing to count your blessings and choosing to appreciate the little things in your everyday life, choosing to step out of your comfort zone and do things differently. So if you just start by removing some bad habits, changing up your routine and doing more exciting things at least once a week, you could actually start to notice you have a beautiful life full of things to be happy about and full of things to be excited about. So if anything in this episode resonated with you, or twinning, because a lot of these have resonated with me at some point in my life. So remember to stop blocking your own happiness, and I'll see you in my next week's episode.